I recently purchased these two Hultafors chisels in hopes that they could replace my Stanley chisel as far as a carpentry chisel goes. I like to have one on for just cleaning off stuff. I use it for cleaning up caulk or knocking off a corner that's too tight or something. Nothing, definitely not fine woodworking with a chisel like this. However, I find that the steel on these is pretty terrible. It tends to roll the edge really quickly, so hopefully these two are better. Now, this one was $25 and this one was $28. It's slightly wider. If you want to get the inch wide version of this one, it's actually $30. But it's hard to tell in the pictures how different they are. This one's a lot thinner and a lot lighter. This one is a heavy piece of steel. I'm going to see the side profile of those. So this one's definitely got a lot more steel to it. It's probably worth the extra money. They both, this one's painted black on the back, which I don't like because when you go to sharpen a chisel, it's nice to flatten the back and take off the burr. So having the paint there means you have to take off the paint first. At first, I thought this one was completely unpainted, but now looking at it closer, there's a little bit peeling in the corner. I think this just has a clear lacquer finish on it, which will have to come off too before it gets sharpened. So maybe slightly better than the black, but not much. This one, the edges are nicer too. They're ground, and this one is all just sort of lumpy steel. So the heavier chisel is definitely, first glance, a better tool or better deal than the narrower one. Although, if you want a chisel to carry in your tool pouch, this one's heavy. Like, things add up when you start piling them in a tool pouch. So this might not be your choice if you're really trying to cut down on weight. Both of these say it's okay to strike them with a claw hammer. However, this one, this plastic piece is theoretically replaceable. I haven't figured out how to take it off yet. It might just pop off. This one, despite being designed in Sweden, actually says on the back somewhere, made in Taiwan. I did not see where this one was made. It just says carbon steel. So we'll see. For my test piece, I have this piece of spruce in my vise here, and I've got a knot here. Spruce knots are really hard. They're harder than a lot of hardwoods. So I'm going to try chiseling that with all of these and see how it goes. No damage to the edge so far. Yeah, that clear finish is coming off, which is actually good. Yeah, this has rolled the edge already, actually. That spruce knot has. Because this corner cuts nicely, but this side does not. So this one, not looking so good. See this one here? That one's still sharp. Well, I didn't quite take as thick of a cut with it. Let's do a little bit thicker of a cut. Yeah, that's still doing pretty good. Let's see, how's this guy do? Don't think this one was as sharp to begin with. So you can see that little notch there. and the little wave. See the finish is coming off, the clear finish is coming off. But also on this side, you can see that and that there. So this chisel is pretty soft. Looks good. It's got a couple interesting features, like it's flat here so you can sit it on a surface and slide. But if the steel's no good, then yeah, that's pretty worthless. This one, the edge is looking okay. No signs of damage that I can see. If I slide my fingernail along the edge, I don't feel any notches in it. If I do that with this one, it's all like rough and catches and stuff. And this one, same thing, still nice and smooth. So the Stanley's actually holding up really well. I'm kind of surprised because I've had bad luck with this one before. I expected the Hultafors to be at least as good as the Stanley. But I'm going to sharpen this one again, and I'll get a slightly different angle on it and see if it does any better. So one thing I use my chisel for is like cleaning off old caulk around the window before a new one gets installed. And a lot of times there's building wrap stapled, which means running into staples. So I'm going to put in a few staples and we'll chisel through them and see what happens. So they all did very similar on the staple test. So I guess maybe this chisel isn't as bad as I thought. Maybe it's just that I'm abusing my chisels or doing carpentry. So yeah. So before I was just testing the factory edge on both of these chisels. Now I've got them resharpened after doing the staple test, which they both didn't really do all that well on, and I'm going to try them out again against this knot and see how the edge goes, how the edge holds up. They're sharpened to around 27 degrees, which is a little bit blunter than what they were originally. I think they were 25 originally, but I wanted a bit more of a tougher edge. So I'm going to attack this spruce knot again and see how these edges hold up. And that rolled the edge on this old chisel. Yeah, I feel no burr on there now. Let's see. When I slide my finger along the back, I feel just a slight catch where I think the edge started to roll over. Let's see. I'm going to try shaving down this slope. Okay, so that still shaves. But now see, this one won't shave. So this one the edge did roll over on. But these ones still okay. So I'm going to take a slightly heavier chunk out of that knot and see if that hurts it. That still works. That one holds up. Let's try the old Stanley. So these have all performed about the same as far as hardness. This older chisel, the Allied one, really didn't. This one's really dull now after cutting through that knot. It was nice and sharp. It was as sharp as the other ones. And so that's no good. Despite its poor initial showing, this bigger Hultafors has held up well. I think it was just the initial edge was not done all that well. I think it went a little bit too skinny up by the cutting edge, so that got a little wavy. So, and as far as hammering on these, both of these show no signs of damage. This one does have a replaceable striking plate, so if you're really wailing on it, this might be a better choice. This one's got a rubber grip, and this one's got a hard plastic grip. So these both seem decent. I do really like that this one sits flat. That seems like that could be a really useful feature. You know, occasionally you want to chisel in to get something so you don't have to do bevel down and try to get it perfect. You can just slide it along. So overall, I'd say I like this 1.25" Hultafors the best out of this batch. Probably second best is this one. Just weighted a little bit better. This Stanley's not bad. I do like that these two came with sheaths. Yeah. Probably the only downside of this for carrying it in your tool pouch is the weight. It's not that like ridiculously heavy, but every little bit does add up when you have stuff in your tool pouch. Somebody else has another idea for sort of an intermediate test that's softer than the nail, but harder than this spruce knot. It'd be something to test out. Perhaps copper wire. I don't know if that would be in between or not. But if someone would like to see that, let me know. I can try out these edges. I have also seen hardness checkers that are little files. You sort of scratch and see how hard the steel is. And I'm not sure exactly how they work, but I've seen other people use them. So if you're interested, I could look into getting a set of those to test the hardness on these if someone's really interested in them.